Hold up a second, Critter. I just gotta let you know there are spoilers in this video about Critical Role Episode 5. So if you haven't seen it, maybe skip this one, come back later. But for now, let's begin. Like it says in the video title, this is an animated recap of Critical Role. But if you watch to the end, I'm also giving away a subscription to the Critical Role Twitch channel, which means you can get in there live and spam all their emotes and all that good fun. So instructions on how to win that subscription are coming up later, so watch to the end and let's have some fun. Last time on Critical Role, the gang were out to avenge the death of their friend Bertrand Bell, who was slain by a mysterious creepy dwarf named Duggar. The Scooby Gang did an appropriate amount of sleuthing and worked out that Duggar the dwarf was somehow affiliated with the Horbok Corsairs. This organization is very much like a Robin Hood style thing. They're bad, but they're bad for the right reasons, maybe, but they're also very elusive, so the party has to track down this organization. They went to an information broker called the Shadow Baker, a very mysterious fella, but they quite offended him, you know? They did bad on their roles and trying to extract information from him about how to find these Corsairs, and he led them astray. He gave them a passphrase to say at a certain store. Trusting the information this Shadow Baker has given them, the party go to the said location, they speak to the said NPC named Heron, and they say the magical passphrase, which is, "We came for the laughter." And Heron leads them down a hallway through a trapdoor into this secret area in the building. But it is immediately shady. It is immediately shady because there are people all around in this building, like 30 people, and they're smiling. Some of them are wearing masks. It's very much a Court of Miracles situation. And wow, now the party's in danger. Bam, cliffhanger. And that's where this episode picks up. At this point, I thought the party had stumbled into some kind of fight club or maybe a comedy club. We came for the laughter. I don't know. I was expecting something. But it's actually pretty cordial. It's pretty okay. An ambassador for this group of strangers hiding in the dark comes forward and speaks to the party, and we learn that these are the Corsairs. You know, great, we found them. The party tell this ambassador for the Corsairs, they say to him, "We are looking for Duggar. He murdered a friend of ours." And this ambassador says, well, maybe Duggar had a good reason for doing that. You see how they're kind of morally ambiguous here? They're pretty shady. Now, this ambassador is pretty reticent with information here. He wants assurances before he negotiates with the party and divulges anything too much. He wants collateral from the party. And the collateral that he wants is information. He says, tell me about someone who is important to you and tell me where they are. With the implication being, if you mess with us, we will find that person and we will throw them off a bridge. The person Imogen offers up is her father. I believe his name is Roven. And Ashton, in a beautiful little moment, says the person that's most important to me is someone named Fresh Cut Grass. And Fresh Cut Grass is in the corner going, "Oh, Ashton, didn't know you felt this way about me. Oh, I feel so blessed." It's lovely. A few other people are asked to offer up some people that are important to them, like Dorian and Lorda, but both of them say, well, we don't have anyone that's close to us, right? Oh, this is barely important, but I don't know, I feel a need to mention this. At some point in this scene, Laura rolls 2d20. I think she rolls with disadvantage, so she rolls 2d20 and she takes the lower. Sorry, my cat's in the way now. She rolls 2d20, and when she rolls them, they landed stacked on top of each other, okay? And get out of the way. And the dice that landed on top was a natural 20. That's pretty rare. They landed stacked and the top one was a natural 20. Crazy. Okay, you just going to settle here, buddy? Okay, I guess he's just here now. The ambassador for the Corsairs, he's satisfied with this in a fashion, and he starts revealing some information. His name is Yash Mangal. Yash Mangal, he is a half-elf Corsair, and he speaks for the collective. They seem like a kind of anarchist co-op kind of thing going on. I don't know exactly where they fall on that old political compass. So Yash Mangal is now happy to share a bit of information about Duggar. He says Duggar no longer works with the Corsairs. He resigned. What happened is 6 months ago, he disappeared for a while, okay? He said he needed to take care of something. But when he came back, he was this pale, kind of, slimy, sweaty person, and he was like much more aloof. And then he resigned. The party asks Yash, hey, what about this whole controlling shade creepers? Did you know he could do that? Or what about him stealing Broomstone? And Yash doesn't know anything about Duggar's motivations or abilities in that regard. 6 months ago, Duggar could not control shade creepers. And the most important information we learn, hey, this guy's got a house. He's in the phone book. Look him up. Apparently, Duggar lives in the Core Spire in a blue house, right? So he spends time there or at the Weary Way, and he just kind of goes between them, like an NPC. The Yash also gives the party the correct passphrase to speak to the Corsairs, which is, we've come to loosen the snare. So I guess if you say the wrong passphrase, they fight you. If you say the right passphrase, then you're cool. At this point, there's a weird kind of moment because they recall that their patron, Lord Esteros, had asked the party to kind of endear him to the Corsairs, but they can't remember if they wanted him to use his name or not. So they go, hey, wait, we got to say that this guy's really cool, our patron, Lord Esteros, but can we actually use his name? At one point as they're leaving, Dorian is about to yell out, hey, Lord Esteros is really cool or something like that. But Ashton clams his hand over his mouth. It's really silly. Somebody has the bright idea of going, hey, this dude is going to be really tough. We're going to go to his house and we're going to land a smackdown on him, but he's going to be tough. He was tough last time. He's going to be tough this time. We're going to need to stock up. We got to get some potions. We're going to need that healing. So the party goes shopping for potions. They meet an old lady named Jeria, and Matt does this voice for this woman that just sounds like it hurts so much. And I think the party probably talked to her for too long because the voice starts off as something very grating, like a chainsaw in his throat. And then I think it kind of eases off into something a little bit more manageable. He's like, I gotta preserve this thing. This is the moneymaker, I bet he was thinking. This character of Jeria leads them to someone named Advic, who can sell them potions and other kind of magical knickknacks. Now, Ashton knows Advic. This is one of his contacts in the area, was actually one of the people that they were originally looking for, but they have a kind of tumultuous relationship. Well, I don't know exactly the nature of it, but since Ashton seems to owe everybody money, I think we're safe to presume Ashton probably owes Advic money. Advic is a human. He's got black, slicked back hair and a pencil-thin mustache. He kind of reminds me, just the way Matt was describing him, I pictured Varric from The Legend of Korra, the cartoon. It's very good. And yes, hey, Advic has potions for sale. He'll sell them to the party for an exorbitant price for 115 gold pieces. Now, D&D fans out there, you know that a healing potion should be like $50 or $75 max. 115 for these suckers. Woof. These potions, they look a little bit different, like the color's a little bit off of these potions. Ashton even describes them as potions of healing-esque. So the party kind of inspects them. One of my favorite moments in this episode is when they hand the bottle a potion to Fern so she can test it, and everybody looks so worried because Fern is such a wild card. Fern rolls a medicine check and determines, hey, this is a healing potion. She even tastes a little bit and rubs it on her gums. So the party end up buying a few things here. They buy the 4 potions. Okay, so they've got 4 healing potions they distribute amongst the party, and then Dorian realizes, hey, from my time in Exandria Unlimited, my character has a potion left over. So now they have that 5th potion as well. But they also bought some sending stones. Sending stones are, picture it like a once a day walkie-talkie where 2 characters can hold it and communicate with a little bit. So they give one to Orym and they give one to Ashton, 2 mostly mundane characters who now can communicate over long distances. Side note about this shopping scene, Travis isn't here for this, right? Travis famously, infamously hates shopping scenes. I get the feeling that they would not have spent 20 minutes goofing around with this shop vendor if Travis hadn't been there. So I guess I'm grateful Travis wasn't there so they didn't have to endure the shopping scene. Maybe killing Bertrand was a mercy killing. My favorite line of the episode happens in this scene as well, because Ashton's trying to say, look, we've already had one bad thing when we went into that ambush earlier with all of those people in the room. What are the chances that 2 bad things can happen to us in one day? And Imogen says, well, Bertrand started the day by dying. So now we're making our way towards Duggar's house. They go to this neighborhood in the core spire, and remember, it's kind of like wrapped around with different levels and layers and stuff. I like to imagine it as in Salute of the Jugger, when they have all those things built into the wall. Very cool, very cool. Salute of the Jugger fans, rise up. So this neighborhood looks like a multi-tiered cake. That's how it's described. Duggar's house is kind of built into the rock of the spire itself on the 12th level. So what happens is most of the party actually go up to the 13th floor, where they can see the roof of the of Duggar's house, and they can get like a good kind of like bird's eye view of what's happening, while two people go to the front door. Imogen and Aurum have this like just a kind of wacky plan where they have the spell called Prestidigitation. Prestidigitation lets you create a sound within 10 feet of you, a sound like a knock, right? So they decide to walk past the door 10 feet away, just kind of like, not paying attention, just very casually, and then make the knocking sound so that someone's knocking the door, just to see if somebody comes out and notices. But nobody does come out. At this point, Imogen decides to use her mindy-windy powers to like probe around here in the building to see if there's any thinking creatures in there. But instead what she finds is like this smell and this rot and this mildew, right? There's nobody in there, but it is kind of emanating something. At this point, Fern, who is fast becoming my favorite character, offers to sneak into the building as a kind of animal, because she is a druid and she can transform into all kinds of animals. She posits that she might be able to turn into an octopus. And she does a brilliant impersonation of an octopus, but she eventually settles on the much more reasonable and versatile rat. Welcome to the team, Ratchley. Glad to have you. Fern tries to squeeze underneath the door, right? She rolls really bad on her acrobatics, I think, check as a rat, and she gets wedged. But when she's under there, she notices that the house inside is in disarray. So Imogen rescues Fern from under the door and like pulls her out. She's still a rat. I will tell you when Fern is no longer a rat, but just for a little bit, just presume she's a rat for a while. Okay, so Ashton manages to pick the lock of the door and they open up and we're inside Duggar's house. At this point, I'll remind you that the guards in this town are on these flying beasts with like birds with dog heads. They're called Simurg Riders, or I think they're also called Wilders. And one of them is getting suspicious, kind of circling the area. This flying guard lands and looks around the area while the party sneaks inside, but they escape suspicion and the guard leaves. Now, everybody's inside and we are looking around a ruined room, a ruined place. This place has been absolutely rolled. That's what Ashton would say. The furniture has been overturned. There's a musty smell in there. And there's this kind of like oily, sticky residue everywhere. It's this slimy place. It's filthy inside. In the last place that they fought this character, they fought Duggar, they found a hole in the wall that led down. They find a similar kind of hole in the structure here. So your girl, my girl, our girl, Fern, the rat, decides to go down into this hole to inspect. And it goes down to a decline. Wait, is that right? Decline, incline, decline? It goes down to like a slope and she has to make a decision. Oh, am I going to try and go down further? It's getting pretty steep down here. But then she starts to hear this weird liquid squelching sound and she starts to run away. She's being chased out of this hole by something. And here we go. I was going to try and describe what happens here. I was going to try and describe the scene, but I think I can just show you with this GIF. This is what they see. They see Duggar, this dwarf, just like oily and liquefied and black eyes, black veins, just kind of peeling out of this hole after Ratchley barrels out of there. Okay? He is like liquefied and his form is kind of unmade. He's like a goo boy and he just kind of plops out of there and it is disgusting. The entire cast are screaming at Matt's description and then we go to our break because it's initiative time. You know the rules. They take a break, we take a break. Did you know that these videos cost me like $50 to make? They cost me $50 dues to make. And if you want to help offset some of those things, some of those costs, the best thing you can do is please just share this video with one of your mates. Click like, leave a comment, subscribe and all that jazz. But if you are super keen, if you're a fan of D&D, then maybe you should check out my Patreon. It's rad. There's so much stuff, so much value, so much juice. For $5, you can get, mate, okay, he's just knocked dice everywhere. For $5, you can get access to literally everything that I've made over the last 2 years. It's a genuine steal, and I encourage you to steal me. I really appreciate support. Apart from that, let's get back to the recap. Let me give you the cliff notes of this combat, okay? The themes of this combat are grossness, and crowd control. Crowd control in that there are lots of abilities that impede people's movements. There is this goo that this character of Duggar kind of excretes, okay? And it covers the ground and it is difficult for people to move through. They need to make a strength save in order to move through this stuff. And it becomes like a real hazard because it's not only Duggar that they're fighting, they're also fighting those shade creepers, those creepy little gremlin boys that when they die, they explode. Okay. And the way that I see mechanically, the way I see these shade creepers is they are glass cannons. They do not have a lot of health, but they do hit very hard. And then additionally, when they die, they deal extra kind of AoE damage with their explosion. So these things are just meant to die quick, but output a bunch of damage. And that's exactly what they do. In this fight, 3 people go unconscious. Imogen gets knocked down, right? Fern gets knocked down. And Fresh Cut Grass gets knocked down, which is terrifying in the last instance because he's like, the main healer. But luckily, everybody that goes down gets healed. Nobody dies. They're all safe. There's also a absolutely disgusting moment where Duggar's there and he's got his gooey kind of dwarfy form and a shade creeper is like birthed out of his back. It like rips out of, I don't know. I don't even want to think about it. Yeah, let's omit that bit from the recap. Let's pretend that didn't happen. Ugh. Highlight of the fight for me was when Fresh Cut Grass uses one of his spells, I think it was Command, and he commands Duggar to alphabetize, which is kind of a way to stun him so that he doesn't have his, doesn't get his full turn, right? And when they cut to Duggar's turn, he's going dagger, rapier, short sword. He's just sorting his weapons in alphabetical order. It's Robbie. It's Dorian who gets the how do you want to do this on Duggar. He kills him with a thunder wave. And everybody's so excited for him. I didn't watch Exandria Unlimited. Still haven't seen it. So I don't know if Robbie got any how do you want to do this. This might be his first how do you want to do this ever. So everyone was really supportive and it was a really lovely moment. Well, and also it was lovely when he incinerates Duggar. This guy is disintegrated by Robbie's spell. He's blasted into ash and his gear clatters to the ground. Even though Duggar's dead, there are still shade creepers and we're still fighting. So they're coming out of this hole in the wall, right? That's the way they get around. At this point, Fern uses a ring that she had from Exandria Unlimited. I think it's called Stonky's ring, but what it is a ring of telekinesis. She's a 3rd level character that can cast a 5th level spell, okay, telekinesis, and she uses it to move a crate in front of the hole, blocking it. So now no more shade creepers can come out. Lorna reveals she has an immovable rod, which is a kind of stick that you can put somewhere, activate it with the button by clicking it, and then it cannot be moved. So even though the shade creepers are pushing against this crate trying to get out of the hole, she puts the immovable rod there and then it's immediately still. So they won. Duggar's dead and now they're in this house. They look around. Imogen collects a vial of the goo on the floor, the thing that was kind of making up Duggar's bodily composition. The party searches the room, but it's very mundane. And in fact, they notice specifically that it looks like it's already been burglarized. It's already been rolled. Somebody's already taken the valuables from all kinds of places. But Fern, for some reason, steals a chamber pot. They're worried about being seen by the neighbors, and the party discuss about how they're going to get out of this room after causing all this ruckus without being seen or getting in trouble. So what they decide to do Well, they discuss the idea they could pretend to be movers, like, oh, we're just moving out and just all get uniforms and have boxes and stuff. Or they could attack like the central pillar of this building and collapse it and just destroy the place. But they settle on getting Dorian to cast Charm Person on the neighbor. And when Dorian's like talking his way out of this situation while the party is kind of sneaking away, he uses his real name multiple times. He's given his real name away so many times. There is no guile to this lad. The party goes to Lord Escharos to give him the good news. Hey, we have defeated Sir Bertrand Bell's murderer. Okay, we've killed him. It's done. Avenged. Tick. They also give him a vial of the goo. They give him that vial. Lord Escharos says that he's going to give that vial to some alchemists that he knows, and he's also going to inquire with some like civil engineers that know some stuff about the sewerage system and the tunnels and stuff in this city to try and find out about what's going on down there. So I expect that at some point in a few episodes, Lord Escharos is going to give us a little bit more information about what's going on. But he says something really nice. He says, I am grateful for your sense of justice, because that is Lord Escharos' main jam. Boy loves justice. And what he does is he says, I placed a bounty on the murderer of Sir Bertrand Bell. You have killed the murderer, so you get this $1,000 dues. Here you go. The party gets 1,000 gold pieces. At one point, Dorian says, we would have done it for free. And Fred Karkaras goes, well, we could just give the money back. And Dorian's going, no, would have. We would have done it for free. Would have. Now that's all sorted. The party head down to the Spire by Fire for a celebratory drink. And they say to Lord Escharos, hey, are you sure you don't want to come with? And he goes, absolutely not. If you want to win a month's subscription to Critical Role, here's what you got to do. You got to leave a comment down below addressing one of the things I'm about to talk about or sharing your own experiences with the episode. When you leave your comment, make sure to include your Twitch ID name so I know who to gift the subscription to. After seeing this episode, I am left with 3 head scratches, 3 questions, and 1 player of the day. My first question is super simple, right? They've leveled up, okay? They've gone from level 3 to level 4. This is an opportunity for somebody to multi-class. Now, Lordna is already multi-classed. She's a warlock and she's a sorcerer. Do you reckon anybody else will take on some spice in their life? Who would you want to see multi-class in this group? And what would you want to see them multi-class into? Because there are some fun combos. My second question is something that none of us are going to guess right, because of course we're not going to. What's up with Duggar? You know, what's up with him? Why is he so gooey and weird and gross? Like, I think we're doing the kind of Mines of Moria thing. You know, the one where it's like, we dug too deep and we awoke some ancient evil and now we are cursed or whatever, or we've unleashed this beast. Duggar doesn't feel like the main bad dude in his circle of shady evil creepiness. Yes, he was controlling the shade creepers, or he was their boss in some kind of way, and he did give birth to one of them, but we're not going to talk about that. We're not talking about that. But he had motivations. He had a goal. He was collecting that broomstone. He had something that he was working on, and I would imagine that he was working on it for somebody else. I wonder if the broomstone is the thing that's messed him up. I doubt it. At some point in the episode, somebody pointed out that, well, this broomstone is harvested from ancient civilization. It's crazy magical stuff. It might have some kind of effect on somebody. It's not out of the question that if it was used in the wrong way, it could impose some kind of physical change on somebody's body like it's done to Duggar. But my dude, that's a big physical change. What do you think? What are Duggar's origins? What tropes are we going to hit? Are we going to get Mines of Moria? Are we going to get some kind of curse? Is it a disease? Is it magic? Who knows? Let me know. My third question is about the Corsairs. A lot of people were talking about the Court of Owls and the Court of Miracles from Hunchback of Notre Dame, or from, French history, I guess. I don't really know much about that stuff, right? But this troop, right? This group of rogues and renegades, are these going to end up being the good guys? Are we going to end up with another one of those stories where it's like, hey, we have the quorum who run the city and they're the authority, but we're following the scrappy underdogs, the city's underbelly that's rising up. Are we going to have like a kind of rebellion story again? I feel that's kind of what we did last time. Like campaign 2 got quite political. Not political in the sense that it's like we're talking about real world politics, but political in the sense that we're talking about nations warring and governments. And I don't know if I'm a fan of that kind of stuff. And if this Corsair group, if they are going to lean into that kind of storyline where it's, no, we are trying to fix society and change the social structure and overthrow the quorum, man, I don't know if I'm interested in that. How do you feel? Do you feel that this is going to lean into a kind of political storyline, or is it something else? And how do you feel about a political storyline? Doesn't jive with me. And now, my player of the day, absolutely my favorite moment was from Fern. Mate, Fern shone this episode, and it was a kind of culmination of a number of things that she's laid the groundwork with for how she wants people to see and react to her character. There was this moment when they were inspecting all the health potions at the shop where they go, oh, can I hold one? And they hand her a potion. But there was just like maybe a 1 second, a 2 second moment where all of the other players around the table, she was sitting there miming, holding this potion in both her hands and looking at it. And everybody just looked at her waiting to like, oh my God, what is she going to do? What is this lady going to do with this potion? They all thought she was going to drink it or like smash it or steal it or like just do something that you should not do. And just when they're all sitting there watching her with bated breath, it was just a really lovely moment of suspense. And there wasn't even a payoff. Like she didn't do anything crazy with the potion. She just held it and then later she tasted a little bit and then she gave it back. She was completely reasonable. But she has conditioned me to panic when she does things. I don't know. I just love it. Who was your player of the day? And in the next episode, I will make sure to announce who wins the Critical Role subscription. You made it to the end of the video. That's great. Hey, you and I, true friends, true friends. My name's Matthew Perkins. I think I forgot to say it at all during this video. These people downstairs, these people are my patrons. They help keep the lights on. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your support. Now, if you like this video, maybe check out one of my other things. Check out here on the right. There's more. There's 2 links you can click on. Click subscribe, leave the comment, maybe, and also have a nice day. Just have a lovely time. Oh man, I hit my mic accidentally with my face. Goodbye.